Hello, greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome all who are here in the continent and to all who are in the diaspora. Um, African leaders have arrived in New York to attend the United Nations General Assembly. But before entering into the debate, African leaders have gathered in different places to share their thoughts. Among of those occasion is Africans came together and strategized how they are going to demand a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. So, in this live streaming, brothers and sisters, we are going to hear from our leaders what have been said concerning about Africa being included and respected in international arena. We know that since the formation of the United Nations, um, the Security Council has never amended. They have only five permanent members, which are America, Russia, China, France, and UK. You see, those five permanent members have a veto power. But right now, Africans, we are saying we want also a permanent seat in the UN Security Council with the same veto power. America has proposed to support Africa, but with no veto power. But we want veto power. We cannot be there as observer or as guest. We want to be there as as a solution uh, presenter, or we want to be there as a solution provider. So, my dear lovely family, brothers and sisters, let me share what our leaders said in that occasion. I will start with President Bio of
United Nations General
President Bio
Assembly
of
session,
Sierra Leone,
Chairperson
and this
of
is
the
what
African
he said,
Union
brothers and
Commission,
sisters.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I call to order the seventh summit of the African Union Committee of 10 Heads of State and Government on the reform of the United Nations Security Council, C10. It is my singular honor and to warmly welcome all of you to this historic commemorative summit of the C10, convened on the margin of the high-level week of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Your esteemed presence today is testimony to our collective resolve and enduring commitment to the mandate of the C10 and to advancing the common African position, enshrined in the Ezowini Consensus and the SAT Declaration, whose 20th anniversary we proudly commemorate. We shall now proceed to the opening statements. I shall first deliver my own statement as President of Sierra Leone and Coordinator of C10. Your Excellency, Chairperson of the African Union Assembly, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government of the African Union Committee of 10 on United Nations Security Council, representative of the President of the 80th United Nations General Assembly session, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to welcome you to the 7th Summit of the African Union Committee of 10 on Security Council Reform, a gathering of great historical significance. We convene at a critical moment in our collective fight for justice and equity in global governance. This year marks 20 years since Africa's leaders adopted a common African position articulated in the landmark Ezowini Consensus and SAT Declaration of 2005. Then, Africa spoke with one voice, demanding no fewer than 2 permanent seats with all the rights and privileges of current permanent members, including the veto, and 2 additional non-permanent seats. This was not a plea for favor. It was and remains a demand for justice to correct a historical wrong. When the UN was founded in 1945, most of Africa had no voice. Today, Africa remains the only continent without permanent representation, despite African issues dominating the Council's agenda. This exclusion, a relic of bygone era, is a profound injustice. Decisions about Africa must no longer be taken without Africa. Excellencies, over the past 2 decades, guided by the Ezowini Consensus and SAT Declaration, the C10 has been the custodian of Africa's demand. We have carried Africa's voice to every region, every forum, and every negotiation. Our greatest achievement has been our unity. Despite our diversity, Africa has remained steadfastly aligned behind a single, principled position. That unity is our strength. No reform can succeed without a united Africa. Through tireless advocacy, Africa has secured recognition of its case as both a priority and a special case. This recognition is firmly enshrined in UN outcome documents, including the 2024 Pact for the Future. The C10 has built strong global partnerships. Today, Africa's inclusion is universally acknowledged as indispensable to any credible reform. Even the Permanent 5 have in different ways publicly affirmed Africa's legitimate claim. Recently, the Freetown Retreat and Lusaka Ministerial Meeting produced the African Union Reform Model, a comprehensive, united, and actionable framework for structured dialogue in the intergovernmental negotiations. These accomplishments reflect Africa's resilience, solidarity, and determination. For 20 years, no African state has broken ranks. That unshakable unity has transformed Africa's once marginalized demand into a centerpiece of global reform debate. Excellencies, the hard truth is that our ultimate objective has not yet been achieved. 80 years after the establishment of the United Nations, the Security Council still operates under a structure that excludes Africa. This not only undermines the Council's credibility, but also challenges the universality of the UN as a whole. Today, therefore, I must restate Africa's clear and legitimate demand. To the permanent members, I reiterate that recognition should be accompanied by a genuine political willingness to take action. To member states involved in the intergovernmental negotiations, let us use the structured dialogue to build consensus on outcomes rather than recycle entrenched positions. To the wider United Nations membership, as the UN marks its 80th anniversary, let us not allow another milestone to pass with words alone. The Pact for the Future gives us the mandate. The Africa reform model adopted by C10, rooted in Eswatini and SAT common African position, provides the blueprint for reform. The momentum is here. The time for action is now. Africa will continue to engage constructively. Let there be no doubt. Our demand is legitimate, non-negotiable, and just. Equal representation for Africa is not only an African imperative, it is a global necessity. It is essential for the credibility, effectiveness, and legitimacy of the United Nations in this century. As we commemorate 20 years of Eswatini and SAT, let history record that Africa stood together, firm and resolute, to reclaim its rightful place. Let this generation of leaders be remembered for correcting an injustice that has been endured for far too long, and for ensuring that the Security Council reflects the current state of the world rather than how it was in 1945. Thank you for your attention. I now have the pleasure to invite the representative of the President of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly to deliver a statement. Okay. At this juncture, I now invite His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, to deliver his remarks.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Excellence, Monsieur Julius Maada Bio, Président de la République du Sierra Leone et coordinateur du C10. Excellence, Monsieur le Président Joao Lourenço, Président de la République de l'Angola et Président en exercice de l'Union africaine.
Brothers and sisters, before moving to hear from the chairperson of African Commission, Mr. Yusuf, let's first share a little bit from what we heard from President of Sierra Leone. I spoken one thing that is very, very important, that Africa, we are supposed to grow as a united bloc. Right now, we are demanding permanent seats in the UN Security Council, but are we united as Africans? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Because if you talk about United States of America, they have one president, they have single government, single currency. If you talk about Russia, you talk about single nation with single currency, one army. The same if you talk to France. Those 5 permanent members in the UN Security Council, They have single army, single currency, united. So Africa, we are demanding permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Do we see that we are united enough to go and demand the permanent seat in the UN Security Council? Because what I see, we don't have single army. We have no army for African continent. Yes, we demand 2 or whatever, 3, 5, whatever we can get those permanent seats. So do we have a single army? Do we have a single president when these leaders are coming together, those 5? Who will represent Africa when it comes that Africa is going to have a seat in the permanent UN, a permanent seat in the UN Security Council? Who will represent? Because we know how these colonizers divided Africa. If you are colonized by France, you are being influenced by France. If you are being colonized by UK, you are being influenced by the UK. So the question that remains on the table, Africa, we demand permanent seats in the UN Security Council. Are we united? Because this is not maybe like maybe occasion of us maybe like wedding. This is the decision making. We cannot go there while we are still divided. Because we have seen some countries, for instance, right now, you know, that Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are being suspended in the African Union. If we believe that African Union will represent us, do we see that this continental body is powerful enough to represent the continent of Africa? African Union is enough and powerful to represent Africa so that we can say, let us give permanent seat African Union. African Union has no territory. African Union has no army. African Union itself are being sponsored by the West. Yes, I'm very happy we are demanding, we are working. But I think before moving to those issues, demand, of course, we are demanding because we want to be represented. But let us, first of all, before going there, you know, if you look, there's no representative of Sahel, there's no representative of, when I'm talking about Sahel, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, you see, and these countries, as I said before, were were suspended temporarily from African Union. That we have countries such as Morocco, you know, Morocco, because at a time tried to apply for European Union to be a member of European Union. So you see contradiction. We have seen some countries like South Africa, we know white South Africans want to have their own country, independent country in the Western Cape. You can see before I think looking to this issue, let us first of all unite as Africa. Unite having at least single army, at least having single currency, or one leader. Of course, one leader is difficult. We know our situation. African leaders, everyone wants to be to get 21 gun salute, and that's why you saw many African leaders are in New York. But US has only one president, Donald Trump, but has a lot of states, you can see. But all in all, brothers and sisters, let us continue to hear from the chairperson of African Union, and then I'll come back to you. And if you have something to share with us, please, you may share your thoughts and what do you think we can do as Africans through the comment section. Let us continue, brothers and sisters.
Les chefs d'État et de gouvernement membres du comité des 10, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs. D'emblée, j'aimerais saluer les efforts de Son Excellence, Monsieur le Président Bio, pour le travail accompli et le leadership imprimé à la tête du comité des 10.
For the work made as head of the C10, the virtual meeting that took place in July by the C10 had adopted the proposed model by member states in terms of security. We are meeting today bearing in mind that we have gotten to a crossroads on this historic process. This year, indeed, is the 20th anniversary, referencing two documents that reflect the common endeavor, as a winning consensus declaration. In those documents, we together design and define and mention our view on the future of this continent with the enlarged Security Council and 5 non-permanent membership. This is based on a strong conviction that United Nations must reflect today's realities, not 1945 realities.
Years since the establishment of the United Nations, Africa has transformed from a collection of colonized and trusteeship territories into a continent of 55 sovereign nations, home to 1.4 billion people, more than a quarter of the General Assembly's membership. Africa hosts the highest number of UN-mandated missions, contributes to the largest contingents to UN peace operations, and bears the social and economic cost of conflict more than any other region. By 2050, Africa's young people will represent a third of the global workforce. Yet Africa remains the only region without a single permanent seat on the Security Council. This imbalance is no longer acceptable. The Zolweni Consensus and the Sirte Declaration remain the cornerstone of the African common position. They are built on fairness, legitimacy, and justice. They also reflect the objectives of our Constitutive Act and Agenda 2063 to ensure Africa's rightful place in global decision-making and to defend African common positions on all matters of concern to our peoples. We take note that many world leaders, the UN Secretary General in our common agenda, and even the 2024 Summit of the Future have recognized the need for the Security Council to be reformed. We acknowledge support from the Caribbean and the G77 plus China. Yet, despite this rhetorical support, Africa's legitimate demands, including full veto rights, remain unmet. Progress has been painfully slow. Your Excellencies, 2025, the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, must be a turning point. The African Union, through the C10, calls on the General Assembly to act decisively. The reform of the Security Council is not a matter of convenience, but of necessity, essential for the credibility of multilateralism itself. On this landmark occasion, we therefore issue a call to all UN member states, and especially the permanent members of the Security Council, to engage earnestly in the reform negotiations and to honor the African common position. Correcting this historic injustice is indispensable to the legitimacy and effectiveness of the United Nations in the 21st century. In conclusion, I wish to invite Your Excellencies to enrich our deliberations today so that this 7th summit becomes a milestone in our common struggle. Let us reaffirm with one voice that Africa will no longer wait on the margins of history. I thank you.
Yes, brothers and sisters, that is the chairperson of African Union Commission, chairperson of African Union Commission, Muhammad Yusuf. Brothers and sisters, it's spoken very well that UN Security Council or Security Council must be reformed. The progress looks slow. No one is led to change um, this permanent seat. But one thing that I want to continue recommending to Africans, I think you see the progress of reforming UN Security Council is going slowly, slowly. We have a lot of promises. You remember the administration of Joe Biden promised African leaders that US will support Africa to have a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Uh, Now we have Trump. Trump, he didn't talk anything about those issues. Trump is busy finding good deals with African nations. One thing that we need to do as Africa, having a single currency, and then sit and relax. These people will invite us automatically. They will include us without begging. Right now, we are begging because we are divided. They know that we can speak, we can go to the UN, we can speak wherever we can speak, but nothing will happen. Because we must understand Africa has made a place for supply of raw materials. So if Africa can become powerful, no one will come and take resources very easy. And that's why this situation is multi-billion industry for others have been saying, if you look, all those permanent members in the UN Security Council, all of them, they have single language, they have single leader, they have single army, very powerful, they have nuclear power. So Africans, yes, we can maybe being offered to have permanent seats in the UN Security Council. But what do we have? Do we have nuclear power? Can we compete with Russia? Can we compete with China? Can we compete with France? We have seen France exploited African nations in Francophone. What have we done as Africa? We have seen France try to destabilize Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. What have we done as Africans? So I think that is the main reason why um, Africa, we need to first of all to come together before moving out there. Yes, we need this permanent seat, but how can we given this permanent seat while we are still under division and under controls of others? Many of our leaders are being installed by Western power. You see, so I think let's first of all unite. And if we can unite and form a single army and be united, no one will not go there to beg. Right now we are begging for permanent seats. And they will see, okay, I don't like Traore, I don't like Chian, so let us not give Africa those permanent seats. So we need, first of all, to come together. These things will come automatically. These things will come to, automatically if we are so united. Let us now continue with other speaker. Then I will come to share from what we heard. Please share your thoughts and let's listen from other speaker.
I thank the chairperson, Yusuf, for his statement and for his steadfast leadership in ensuring the African Union Commission provides the necessary support to the C10. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to invite His Excellency João Manuel González Lourenço, my brother, President of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union, to deliver the keynote address on the theme commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the Ezowini Consensus and the SAT Declaration, 2 decades of the common African position, redressing historical injustice, advancing equity and inclusivity in the UN Security Council.
Thank you very much.
Monsieur le Président Julius Mabao, Président de la République de Sierra Leone.
Forma do Conselho de Segurança da Excelência, chefes de Estado e de Governo do C10, Excelência Mahmoud Ali Youssouf, Presidente da Comissão da União Africana, minhas senhoras, meus senhores. Na qualidade de Presidente da República de Angola e na de Presidente em exercício da
President of the Chairman of the African Union, we commemorate another anniversary of the Solini Consensus and the Third Declaration with this committee of the African Union on the reform of the UN Security Council. The Organization of the United Nations was born for a more just society based on the mutual respect among peoples at a time when the African countries had not achieved their independence and their space as sovereign countries among the international community. 20 years ago, in Eswatini and Sirte in Africa, Africa expressed their voice, launching a clear message based on the irrefutable principle of justice and world coordination by adopting the Eswatini Consensus in March of 2005 and the Sirte Declaration in July of the same year. Our continent showed to the world its willingness to end the situation of a victim to be part of the United Nations. However, after all these years, almost nothing was done to respond to the demands of the peoples of Africa, the African continent that represents more than 1.2 billion people, that occupies almost 1/3 of the seats in the General Assembly, has been excluded by the major decisions in the Council, the Security Council of the United Nations. There are intergovernmental negotiations that are being too slow, and many times there's stop due to divisions on the negotiations, and that can harm the dynamics of the process for peace. But our unity continues firm and unbreakable. These two documents, Eswatini and CERT, express the willing of the African peoples to achieve that goal. Based on these two documents and through this body here convened, the Security Council of the United Nations should have at least 2 permanent seats for Africa, with all rights and prerogatives, including the right of veto, as long as it exists, and 5 non-permanent seats, additional ones for the African states to ensure a just and equitable attribution of the seats, so that the African continent, instead of an object of decisions, to be an agent of those decisions. This demand is not excessive nor symbolic, but it represents an expression of its legitimate right, justified by its geopolitical position currently. Taking into account its demographic weight and the fact that Africa is the continent that is more often the object of the Security Council, but at the same time the least represented. We consider that one Security Council that treats Africa non-equal way, we demand that we have a more active and strong voice for the safety, security, and development.
Equidade e desenvolvimento sustentável. Confrontados com os desafios globais atuais, oferece-nos um quadro propício para reforçar a unidade e a solidariedade continental, apoiando-nos em posições comuns, como as que celebramos hoje, mas também para defender princípios essenciais como a soberania dos Estados, a não ingerência e o direito ao desenvolvimento, que nos são caros e que garantem a inclusão equilibrada de África na governação global. Assim, em nome dos Estados-membros da União Africana, gostaria de expressar ao Comitê dos 10 chefes de Estado e do Governo da União Africana,
heads of state, and to the African Union, our gratitude, and to express our gratitude to the work done. In a political context that had difficulty into translating in governmental structure, the efforts are more vital than ever because they materialize a diplomacy pan-African determined, cohesive, and valuing the collective from someone who's always willing to be part of the table where all the great issues of the humankind are decided. Us, as African leaders, will continue to support wholly the C10 positions, reinforce their political goals, and most of all, to be united towards the initiatives, putting aside the divisions so that we can walk together the whole time and achieve results that will satisfy the collective interests of our continent. Excellencies, we are here today not only to celebrate a date, but also to transform this occasion on in a moment of reflection, to be clear and to achieve goals. 20 years later, we have to question the reasons why Africa's voice continues to be marginalized in the great world decisions, and why our legitimate claims are taken or received with indifference, even with lack of consideration. Before that, it's imperative that our position will be strengthened, gain impact and sovereignty. And we underline or underscore the relevance of these diplomatic instruments that we have to continue defending firmly in all international forums, reaffirming our fundamental demands. Africa is the cradle of humanity. We have millennial cultures, the land where the most old civilizations of the world were born. It's also a youth continent, where almost half of our population is less than 20 years of age. They bring with them an energy, a transforming energy. It's the resilience continent. In spite of the history wounds, every day they build innovative solutions for development to a peaceful convivence. But this hope is leading with a bitter reality when we are faced with the scenarios that show that the African continent still does not have an effective voice in the multilateral system. This is not an isolated claim. This is a legitimate demand a global demand, because the Security Council is excluding a whole continent of the full participation. They cannot aspire to be respected as a guardian of peace and international safety or security. The world is facing existential crisis, pandemics, and terrorism. In all those challenges, Africa is not only a victim, it's also part of the solution. Because of that, it's important that we continue claiming our space to make our voice heard. To finish my intervention, I want to support the CT members for their leadership role, and I want to ask them to continue together in this fight for equity, justice, in Africa, which has been led by this group with great determination, wisdom, and with a Pan-American vision that deserves our deep gratitude and sympathy and kindness. I live here. I wanna give my support unconditional to Mr. Julius Maada Bio, the President of Sierra Leone, and the members of the Committee of the African Union about the reform of the Security Council of the United Nations, with the deepest conviction that under his leadership we will be able to have our points of view heard about the position of Africa in the Security Council of the United States. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yes, welcome back, brothers and sisters. That is the chairman, not chairperson, chairman of African Union. We have chairperson of African Union Commission, who is Ahmed Yusuf, and also we have chairman of the African Union. So the president of Angola is the chairman of the African Union. You heard a lot from him, but a good thing that one of our friends, Mr. The Hub of SW, through the comments, he's writing that it's time to stop begging for a seat at a table where whoever build and control such as table do not want you there. It's embarrassing in 2025 to see our African leaders still begging to belong. Those are just updates. So also from Shezim Tal Amon, his comment said, 55, I stand collected. So I think all in all, Africans have tried to share their thoughts. I found also flipping page said Al Kablan needs to forget about the UN Security Council and form their own. You are a continent of what, 54 countries. Stop this nonsense. Look ahead at the green forest. Forget about the dead tree. So those are just updates from the comments. Africans are reacting differently. Some are saying that we don't need to beg for this or for these permanent seats. We need to build our own. Of course, if you look at the population that we have, if you listen, our leaders are talking about population. We are 1.5, 1.4 billion people. We need to be represented. The point here is not about our population. Yes, our population is large, but the issue here, what are we going to offer? What are we have? Look, a small France. One day I was trying to brainstorm myself that how is it possible that a small France can unite 14 francophone countries and create a single currency for those 14 African nations, while we Africans, whether in ECOWAS or in SADC or in East African Community, even Continental Board African Union, we don't have a permanent, we don't have a single currency. But France, with Francophone countries, created a CFA franc, a single currency for these countries. Just imagine a smaller France can control 14 African nations, the Francophone. Of course, right now it's not 14. If you remove those three, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, it remains almost 11 countries still under French influence. So we are 54, if not 55. We cannot be organized well. So we need someone from somewhere to tell us, we are going to give you a permanent seat. We are going to do this for you. I think we need to start thinking properly as Africans. So, my dear brothers and sisters, let us now move to the next speaker to hear also from other speakers about
I
this issue.
thank
أشكر الرئيس لورينسو على الكلمة العظيمة التي
unity and resolve.
أشكر السيد لورينسو على كلمته العظيمة المنيرة، وسنستمع الآن إلى رؤساء
of
Sua Excelência William Ruto. Tenha a palavra, por favor. E eu, presidente do CITEN, Vossas Excelências, chefes de governo, presidente da União Africana, senhoras e senhores, eu quero começar, quero louvar o presidente Bio pela sua liderança dedicada e o seu empenho inquebrantável com a voz da África na agenda do Conselho de Segurança das Nações Unidas. Também quero cujos esforços fortaleceram a posição africana no centro da discussão global. Excelências,
Luini Consensus and the Sirte Declaration, milestones that establish the common African position on Security Council reform, alongside the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. We are called to reflect on our long and determined journey towards a just, democratic, representative, and effective international order. I urge us to move forward with clarity and purpose on three urgent priorities. Number one, we must amplify Africa's voice in every forum, carrying this agenda into bilateral, regional, multilateral engagements so that Africa's message can resonate in every space that we find. Secondly, as the world questions whether the United Nations remains fit for purpose, and I think there is a very big debate about it, we must insist that Africa's continued exclusion is unacceptable and indefensible. At 80, the UN's credibility will be judged by whether it finally recognizes and delivers justice and representation for the 1.4 billion people of the African continent. And third, we must stand united in defending the common African position. To deviate from or dilute it would betray the trust of the very people that elected us. Unity is our greatest strength, and in one voice we must uphold this position with unwavering clarity. Excellencies, Africa carries a disproportionate share of the Security Council's agenda and is among the largest contributors of the UN peacekeeping. yet we remain the only continent without permanent representation. This historic injustice must come to an end sooner rather than later. Beyond asserting our right, we must be clear about what we seek and how to achieve it. Securing Africa's rightful seats is our common demand. But we must also be prepared to shoulder the responsibilities that come with permanent membership, including how we will choose our representatives. This is a delicate and complex undertaking, but also an opportunity to show Africa's maturity, cohesion, and a vision for an effective international order. We must therefore begin this essential conversation as of immediate. Only then will Africa be taken seriously, and only then can our collective aspirations translate into meaningful global influence. As heads of state and government, we have made a solemn commitment. Our unity is the guarantee of progress, and our shared determination the safeguard against any delay. Kenya reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the common African position. We stand ready to work with the C10 members, the African Union, and the broader UN membership to ensure Africa's demands are no longer deferred. I thank you for your attention.
I thank President Ruto for his intervention. And I invite Her Excellency Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, President of Namibia.
Thank you, Your Excellency Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Coordinator of the African Union Committee of 10, Heads of State and Government on the United Nations Security Council reform, Your Excellency João Manuel Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union, Chairperson of the African Union, Your Excellencies, Heads of States, ladies and gentlemen. 20 years ago, African leaders have agreed and adopted the African Common Position on the reform of the UN Security Council, thus become a roadmap, well-known document as Wiener Consensus and the Ceres Declaration. Subsequently, a committee of 10 heads of state and government of the AU was set up to spearhead the African Common Position. Today, we are here to reflect on the work we have started 20 years ago. Those pivotal documents, born from our collective desire and unwavering commitment to Africa's progress and unity, have played an instrumental role in further shaping our continent's vision to being a dynamic force in the global arena. Your Excellencies, the 8th anniversary of the United Nations is an opportune time for us to reflect on the values and the principles upon which this organization is grounded. Our repeated call for a United Nation that is fit for purpose, representatives and reflects of a present-day reality has become imperative. Africa deserves permanency at all global decision forums, especially those seized with making decisions related to the maintenance of international peace and security. For 2 decades, the Common African Position has gained traction with broader support from many interested groups. This is our reminder that our quest to reduce redress historical injustice, and advance equality for a more inclusive and representative Security Council is just and commonly shared. Allow me to acknowledge with gratitude the immense support from all interested groups for the Common Africa position, which culminated in the recognition of Africa as a priority and a special case in the reform process, as reflected in the outcome document of relevant United Nations process, including the PEC for the future. While the reform process continues, Africa should be proud to have sustained a unified voice within the intergovernmental negotiation since the inception of this process. As we prepare to submit the Africa model on UN reform, we call on the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council to lend their support to us, to stand on the right side of history, and to ensure justice for future generations. Africa is not asking for handouts. We are demanding our rightful place in a council that is tasked with the maintenance of international peace and security, a matter that greatly concerns us, our children, and our children's children. Chairperson, as I conclude, I wish to state that 2025 also marks the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Conference on Women and the 25th anniversary of the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security. Therefore, as Africa strives for equal representation in the world's premier peace and security body, we must also ensure that African women and women from other parts of the world are equally participating in important peace and security decision-making platform at the national, sub-regional, continental, and international level. I will not end without thanking Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, for the great leadership you have provided to the C10 as a coordinator over the years. Your leadership is highly commendable and is bearing fruits for Africa. I thank you.
I thank my dear
Yes,
sister.
thanks, Madam President, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of Namibia. Brothers and sisters, you heard a lot from her. She's spoken very well. Uh, she said Africa is not asking for handout, but demanding a rightful place in the global stages. So those are just words from Mama Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the president of Namibia. She's spoken very well. She's courageous. We know how she's working hard. She's she has she's a pan-Africanist, of course, and that's why many times when she's speaking, you see Africans being recognizing her as one of a best leader at this time. So, my dear brothers and sisters, let's now move on to another our next speaker, and then I'll come back. And if you have something to share with us, please make sure that you share your thoughts, ideas, and if you have something to comment, please do so through the comment section. We're here to find best solutions and trying to solve our challenge and to provide an alternative from our leaders. What are they speaking? And we are trying to find the best way how we can have those permanent seats. And of course, some have been suggested that we don't need permanent seat. We need to come together and form our own organization that will be strong. And of course, I agree with them that if I have listening, President Bio talking about by the year 2050, the population of Africa will be doubled. And if our population will be doubled, are we prepared to conquer this world? Are we prepared to take the lead? Or our population will be used by others? And if we are not prepared, we have large population, but people will be poor. People will maybe sometimes will be enslaved again if we're not careful. Now let us move on to next speaker. Then
Her Excellency Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah for that intervention. We now go to the Vice President of Equatorial Guinea. You have the floor, please.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I take the floor on behalf and in representation of His Excellency Obiang Sogo, President of the Equatorial Guinea, to express our acknowledgement of your in your position as the coordinator of the C10, your leadership, your strong commitment defending the common African position within the reforms of the Security Council. Would like to thank you for the initiative of gathering this summit in during the high-level General Assembly week. Today we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Sirte Declaration and of the Esloveni Council, two historical instruments that shaped the common African position on the reform of the Security Council. After 2 decades, it shows strongly the soundness of our unity and the fairness of our demands in the global agenda. While it is true that throughout these 20 years, the African position is well known, it has greater and greater support. We mustn't forget that while we're celebrating the 80th anniversary of the UN, the historic injustice against Africa persists. It is important to point that out because while we reiterate the values defended in the Charter of the UN, the African continent, with its geopolitical importance, its population, and contributions to peace and security, continue to be excluded from permanent membership in the Security Council. So it is not well represented as a non-permanent member. This undermines the legitimacy and credibility and efficiency of the UN. Mr. Chairman, the 80th anniversary of the UN is a critical crossroad to promote the international commitment in view of the Compact for the Future, which says that Africa must be recognized as a special case and as a priority in the process of the reform of the Security Council. It is essential for us to now present and defend the AU model on the reforms of the Council while we have intergovernmental negotiations. We must promote this reform process. It's We don't need to reiterate our position. The future of the UN depends on its capacity to transform and respond to current reality. A Security Council that continues to exclude the African continent cannot speak with moral authority in today's world. The African Union's model on the Security Council reform is the only model that guarantees equity, corrects the exclusion, strengthens the legitimacy of the Security Council. Just to conclude, I would like to briefly point out that if we continue, if the reform continues on these endless debates about whether Africa deserves or not its place as a permanent member on adequate and an inadequate representation as non-permanent, then the process runs the risk of losing its credibility and purpose. How many more declarations, pacts, results must we have repeating what we've known for so long? Africans' exclusion constitutes an injustice. Before taking concrete steps, how many more intergovernmental negotiations must we have? We cannot reach 100 years of these organizations and celebrate that if this injustice persists. Our voice must be high and clear. We cannot continue to accept to have these perpetual debates that end up in just no tangible recognition. Thank you very much.
I thank the Vice President for his intervention. I now give the floor to the Vice President of Uganda. You have the floor, please.
Your Excellency Manuel Lourenço, President of Angola and Chair of the African Union, Your Excellency Mada Bio, President of Sierra Leone and Coordinator of the C10 and also Chair of this session, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, the Chairperson of the African Union, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I thank Your Excellency Dr. Julius Mada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, for convening this 7th summit of the Committee of 10 African Union Heads of State and Government on the reform of the United Nations Security Council at this important time when we mark the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. I also express deep appreciation to Your Excellency Mada Bio as the coordinator of the C10 and the entire leadership of the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone for the unwavering commitment to advancing the common African position on the reform of the United Nations Security Council since its adoption in 2005 and for keeping Africa solidly united. There is no doubt that the C10 has made significant progress in promoting, advocating, and canvassing for the support of the common African position through diplomatic engagements with several relevant stakeholders and interest groups within the intergovernmental negotiation frameworks and other multilateral levels. Uganda remains committed to the mandate given to us by the African Union to promote, advocate, and canvass for support of the common African position on the reform of the United Nations Security Council as stipulated in a Swahili consensus and a SATE declaration. We now need to move the process forward to achieve tangible results. Excellencies, in this regard, I express satisfaction with the African Union model on the reform of the UN Security Council as it aligns with the Eswatini Consensus and SATE Declaration. Africa must be represented in the UN Security Council by not less than 2 permanent seats with equal prerogatives and privileges of the permanent membership and 2 more permanent seats in the non-permanent category. The time is now for the genuine demonstration of the political will by the 5 permanent members on the UN Security Council to consent to the full reform of the Council to make it more inclusive, just, equitable, transparent, responsive, and democratic. We reiterate our demand to rectify the historical injustices against Africa, which should not be perpetuated any longer, and for Africa to be prioritized as a special case for adequate representation on the UN Security Council. We need to step up building the Africa we want in accordance with the vision of the African Union, cohesive, secure, prosperous, united, and speaking with one voice on all aspects of the UN Security Council reform process, thus fostering the maintenance of international peace and security for global development. As I conclude, we remain steadfast in our demand for the immediate full reform of the UN Security Council and for Africa to be adequately represented in both permanent and non-permanent categories in line with the common African position. Any further postponement of the Council's reform process undermines Africa's interests, the maintenance of international peace and security, and global development. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the Vice President for her intervention and now invite the Foreign Minister of Nigeria. You have the floor, please.
Excellency President Julius Maada Bio, Coordinator of the C10, Excellency President João Lourenço, Chairperson of the African Union, Excellency the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Ministers, Ambassadors, and distinguished delegates, as we mark the 20th anniversary of the Eswatini Consensus and the Third Declaration, we stand together to take stock of 2 decades of tireless efforts by Africa to correct a long-standing historical injustice while reflecting on the path forward with a renewed determination and a clearer vision. Looking back at our collective journey, Algeria believes that our action has made a significant breakthrough in 3 aspects. First, Africa has succeeded in broadening the base of support for its common position. Today, our common position enjoys growing support among UN member states and interest groups. We take this as a token of recognition of both the legitimacy and the relevance of Africa's demands as articulated in the Eswatini Consensus. Second, Africa has also succeeded in fostering a global understanding of the particularity of its case. The reason being, on one hand, that our position embodies the collective will of the 55 member states of the African Union, and on the other hand, that it aims first and foremost to correct the historical injustice inflicted upon our continent. Third, and perhaps more crucially and decisively, Africa has proven to the world that it is ready to contribute its fair share to the collective security system with commitment, resolution, and dedication. Through the A3 mechanism, Africa has demonstrated that it harbors no ambitions other than to make a selfless contribution to enable the Security Council to fully assume its responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. While these successes are significant, the road to fulfilling our mandate remains long and fraught with challenges. The collective security system is going through an ever-deepening crisis. Its main tool, the UN Security Council, is in a state of almost complete paralysis. And more concerns are being voiced regarding this situation, and more appeals are being made to overcome this stalemate and to prevent it from deteriorating further and getting out of control. In view of this situation, our commitments are twofold. At the internal level, we must safeguard the unity that has been our greatest strength and most valuable asset. We have all seen how this paid off with the African Union becoming a full member of the G20. We should therefore give due consideration to the compelling need to put our house in order by getting all African countries recommit and re-engage under the umbrella of the African Common Position. At the external level, our committees ought to remain fully engaged in the intergovernmental negotiations process, IGM. Our roadmap should include engagements with all stakeholders to build on the progress achieved so far, with the ultimate goal of garnering the widest possible understanding and support for Africa's legitimate aspirations and fair objectives. We are indeed duty-bound to remain faithful to our common position, because it is sound, because it is fair, and because it is fully responsive to our collective concerns and interests. This is, in our view, the only way forward to ensure that our collective voice paves the way toward promoting a healthier multilateral system grounded on the rules, principles, and ideals enshrined in the UN Charter. I thank you all.
I thank the Honourable Foreign Minister for his intervention. I now call on the Honourable Foreign Minister of Congo to take the floor. You have the floor, please.
Merci, Excellence. Thank you, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Your Excellency, Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola and current Chair of the African Union, the Chairperson of the Commission, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm speaking on behalf of His Excellency President Denis Sassou Nguesso, who mandated me to represent him here. Before I go forth, I would like to commend your personal commitment in the untiring promotion of the interests of our continent. This commitment is further strengthened today through this meeting at a time when Africa is taking up resolutely the challenge of being involved in global governance so as to assume its full responsibility in the Committee of Nations. Increasingly, we are witnesses to changing geopolitical situations, and this has call on us to embark upon a reform of the Security Council. We can also bear witness of the fact that the Security Council has found it very difficult to resolve some crucial and urgent security issues in an equitable way. Hence, the question that will legitimately come to our minds is that of knowing whether a wider representation within that body would not lead to greater efficacy of its work. And it is our conviction that an expansion that takes into consideration the size and the role of Africa in this context, taking into consideration the representation of the continent in this body will be most adequate. We believe that 2025, which is also the 20th anniversary of the Eswatini Consensus, as well as the CERT Declaration, and also the anniversary of the United Nations, the establishment of the United Nations, all concur to require of to reconsider this situation and embark on the reform that we thought of during the Pact of the Future. It is necessary to reform the Security Council, and this has been more evident in the current geopolitical situation. And in this debate, Africa has always sought to promote greater dialogue, expanding into different interest groups and stakeholders, and this is why we also have relations with the 5 permanent members. And we do hope that in the context of this celebration of the 20th anniversary, we will be able to re-energize the multilateralism, particularly for the benefit of Africa in this context where the greater part of issues dealt by the Security Council concern Africa. Thank you for your attention.
Monsieur le Ministre.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your statement.
Call on the Foreign Minister of Zambia to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Coordinator of the AU Committee of 10. Your Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union. Your Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission. Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Honorable Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I wish to thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute to this very important discussion on behalf of President Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, who has mandated me to deliver this statement on his behalf. Allow me at the outset to join delegations that have spoken before me to thank the coordinator of the C10 for convening this important engagement to commemorate 2 landmark milestones in the ongoing pursuit of equitable and effective reform of the United Nations Security Council, the Eswatini Consensus and the CERT Declaration. These historic instruments stand as a testament to Africa's unwavering commitment to global peace, security, and the principles of justice and fairness within the international system. Your Excellencies, the Eswatini Consensus and the CERT Declaration adopted by the African Union in 2005, embody the collective African voice demanding meaningful reform of the Security Council. These instruments underscore the continent's firm stance on expanding both permanent and non-permanent membership to better reflect the geopolitical realities of the 21st century and to ensure Africa's rightful representation and influence in matters of international peace and security. The committee's tireless efforts to build consensus among all UN member states reflects Africa's dedication to constructive dialogue, inclusivity, and multilateralism. We reiterate our commitment to a transparent, accountable, and representative Security Council which can effectively address the complex security challenges facing our world today. Your Excellencies, while we acknowledge the slow pace of the intergovernmental negotiation process, we must also recognize that the geopolitical dynamics surrounding the Security Council reform remain complex. Yet we cannot afford to be complacent. The time has come for us to reinvigorate our strategy, particularly how we engage with our P5 counterparts and the other influential stakeholders. To this end, allow me to highlight 3 key approaches as recently affirmed at the 13th C10 ministerial meeting held in Lusaka in June this year. 1. Enhancing high-level political engagements. We must scale up direct dialogue at the highest political levels with our counterparts, the permanent members of the Security Council and other strategic actors. Our engagements should translate into tangible political support for the common African position. 2, leveraging multilateral platforms. Africa must continue to use its collective influence in multilateral forums, including the African Union, the Non-Aligned Movement, and the G77 plus China, to build broad-based coalitions that support our call for a fairer and more representative council. 3, strategic communication and diplomacy. It is imperative to recalibrate our diplomatic messaging. We must assert clearly and consistently that Africa's demand is not a favor, but a matter of historic justice, sovereign equality, and global legitimacy. Africa's 54 member states represent more than a quarter of the UN membership, yet remain without permanent representation. This status quo is neither tenable nor justifiable. Your Excellencies, as we commemorate this 20th anniversary, let us renew our unity of purpose and sense of urgency. The Ezuluni Consensus remains our guiding framework. Let us guard it jealously, promote it actively, and implement it strategically. We owe it to the generations before us and the future of Africa to ensure that Africa is not just present at the table of global governance, but is a permanent, influential voice in shaping the decisions that affect our continent and the world at large. Your Excellencies, I thank you.
I thank the Foreign Minister for his intervention. I now give the floor to the Acting Minister representing Libya.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, Dr. Julio Mayo Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and the coordinator of the Committee of the 10th, Your Excellency, the Commissioner of the African Union, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Your Excellencies, Ministers, I would like to convey to you the greetings of the presidential committee in our country. He could not come today. I would like to submit to you on behalf of Libya our thanks and appreciation for this invitation to coordinate the work of the Committee of 10, which comes at a historical moment where we celebrate 2 decades through Isolini consensus and cert declaration. We would like to renew our will towards a better that is more effective, more just in the whole world. Mr. President, this is not a crossing station, but this is one of long series of activities and meetings that have been held for 20 years in different African capitals. This reflects our commitment and our political will in order to get our legitimate rights in our inside the Security Council. This was the result of our common struggle, which resulted to certain agreements. And we are going to submit our model for the reform of Security Council. This reflects how Africa has been moving towards building our future. I would like to remind you the points that were reflected during the sixth comment by our president, which is the importance of the political history at all levels. And we have to confirm the just representation Security Council, as we know, veto has become a means in the hands of large countries in order to achieve their own interests and the interests of their friends. We ask for the abolition of veto or to reform it. The reform of Security Council should achieve fairness to all countries and should be and we reject the fact that Security Council has been neglecting African questions. My country confirms that it is necessary that the voice of African countries should be united in asking for the reform of Security Council to make it more representative, more transparent, and more democratic through recognizing the historic injustice against Africa. And as you know, we represent more than 50 countries inside the United Nations. We have to apply also the Pact for the Future, and we have to recognize what is going on in the world now. The unity of African position necessitates that we have to work hard through out of this position. My country, on this occasion, ask you to be during the elections in the General Assembly in 2027. We hope that you will support our candidacy for non-permanent countries in the Security Council. We confirm our African position, and we are going to consecrate all our means to achieve our objectives. And we have to speak in one voice so that we can achieve the desired objective. And our people can take the right place in the field of decision making. I thank you very much.
Yes, brothers and sisters, that is the representative of Libya. He spoken one thing that is very, very important, that Libya is being a forgotten nation. Of course, Libya is under crisis. Maybe the UN Security Council can do something, but we must understand who caused the challenge and the problem of Libya. It's these people who are now we are begging for them to give us permanent seats in the UN Security Council. It's the same people, it's the France and the NATO who invaded Libya. And yet today we are there to ask for them to give us permanent seats in the UN Security Council. I think that it will be difficult. So, my dear brothers and sisters, from that representative of Libya, let us now move on to the next speaker. Then we'll continue to share. Please, if you have something to share with us, do so through the comment section. I saw Africans commenting. Muswa Inton said, "Why are African even at the meeting and begging for what was this wasn't designed for Africa?" So some are saying this was not designed for Africa. It was designed for the Western power. If we want, maybe let us find a new organization that will include the world. Of course, some has been suggesting that the only solution for Africans is to form our own organization that will be strong. Of course, we have African Union that is weak. As I said, African Union has no territory, has no army, has no even the budget of African Union came from Western power. So I don't know how I can say this and put this into good words, but all in all, brothers and sisters, I think African leaders have been suggested this many times that we need to sit down, whether in Addis or in Kampala or in Nairobi or Dar es Salaam or Kigali, Rwanda or Ouagadougou or in Niamey, whether in Dakar or in Cairo, in Niamey, in Bamako, any place in this continent where we can sit down and strategize what we need in this world. What are we going to do if these people will not give us two permanent, I mean, those permanent seats in the UN Security Council? I've been saying this because right now Africans are demanding reparation. Just imagine, reparation is to return what they have taken from us and stolen from us. If this only one permanent seat Africa are not given, even temporary, we are not given. Do you see Western countries will pay reparation to African nations, or we are just talking? Because Africa is a continent where people are just talking without taking actions. And what if we will not be given the permanent seat in the UN Security Council? What will we do as Africans? Do we have something to do? How can we make the world recognize and say, okay, you Africa, you need to be represented? What things we need to do? Of course, we have countries such as, I mean, we are in this world, there are some countries such as India that is so powerful and has population almost like Africa. What if India and Africa apply, if it's about applying for permanent seats in the UN Security Council? Who will be given the first? Who will be given that opportunity for the first before other one? I think it will be India, because India is powerful. India speaking is one voice, is a united. As you heard in this summit, just imagine in this summit, you heard Africans speaking for Portuguese, Africans speaking English, Africa speaking French. I don't heard Swahili here. So what we are speaking different languages, and of course we mean different, of course. So I think the only way for Africans to be recognized and to be respected, we need to be into a united form. Without uniting, without coming together, and not to unite for having permanent seat. No, let us unite for us to be recognized in this world. As I said at the beginning, if you look, United States of America is a united, is giant. If you look, Russia is a giant. It's not about the matter of population. It is how these countries are coming as a nation. Africa, if you look, African leaders who are in New York, there are almost more than 30 heads of states are in New York. But if we are united, and everyone is speaking that we have 1.5 billion people, we have 1.5 billion people, we need only few leaders who is representing this continent. And that's why we have been calling for unity. Just imagine, we have almost 30 years, I mean 30 leaders in New York. Everyone is signing in the corridor. You find leaders signing mining deal with other countries. In the corridor, you find these are signing climate agreement. So we don't have a common agenda. Some are in New York or maybe to demand permanent seat, but others are in New York or to do different things because of division. And I'm telling you the truth, brothers and sisters. These things will not come into reality because Africa itself is under division. And if this will happen, it will happen under the influence of other people. So France is not ready to see that these powerful nations are going to have, these Sahelian countries are going to have a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. The same to US is not ready to see some countries that are maybe influenced by Russia having a permanent seat. So you can see there's a competition among these five nations. China is free, maybe Russia can accept, but US cannot agree. Europe, France cannot agree, UK cannot agree, and these things or these countries want to continue to exploit Africa. And you cannot exploit a country that is powerful like you in the same level. You cannot defeat someone who is in the same level. So you need someone to be below you, and that's what is happening. So, my dear brothers and sisters, let us continue with this important conversation where we are going to hear from our leaders contributing on the issue of permanent seats in the UN Security Council for African continent.
To Senegal.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Chair. We like to acknowledge the presence of His Excellency Charles Lourenço, the Chairperson of the African Union. And as I start this statement, I would like to seize the opportunity to convey the brotherly greetings of President Bassirou Faye of Senegal, who unfortunately could not be with us because he's still on the way to New York. We like to also re-echo the expression of commendation for the untiring commitment of the President of Sierra Leone in the promotion of C10 interests of Africa relating to the reform of the United Nations Security Council. We also wish to express satisfaction with the presence of the chairperson of the African Union, Mr. Mohamed Yusuf. We are grateful to him for the support he's given to this committee. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture where multilateralism is being challenged, we are happy to be able to meet here for the 20th anniversary of our common position document, as well as the celebration of the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. This happens at a time when the United Nations is confronted with many challenges, including the delays in the implementation of the 2030 agenda, and thus having impact on the ability of the continent to take up challenges to resolve issues relating to peace and security. Notwithstanding the efforts deployed by the Secretary General to ensure that the various organs are able to carry out their function adequately, there is also some other urgent needs that have emerged, which have to do with greater justice, representativeness, and allocation of commitment or sharing of duty on the continent. Because 80 years after it was created, the Security Council is still a unique organ, which is such that a small portion of the membership of the organization are monopolizing the power as against the majority of the members. The Ezewini Declaration and the CERT Declaration are statements that come in a timely manner to repair this injustice that is done to Africa, where our countries are still deprived of the access to international sovereignty. As a matter of fact, we commend leaders for the effort that has been invested so far on this matter, where the effort is made to present Africa as a special case for special attention. And this is seen in the common African position that we have brought up. In the same vein, the adoption by the African, of the common position, which will be presented during the ongoing session of the General Assembly, is indeed another pathway that will enable us to have an effective progress through the IGN. The way is long, but nothing should stop us from carrying to the conclusive end this commitment to take steps to resolve problems for the welfare and benefits of majority of the population in the world. Africa should be an accelerator of the reform that is being proposed, that will enable all parties to get involved in a fair and logical process of reform. The roadmap to 2030, which was validated by the Lusaka conference, is pointing to the right direction. And therefore, we need, at the general debate session of this 80th session, underscore that. And I would like to give you the assurance of the position of Senegal on the support to this position and the determination to ensure that Africa is given the entitled position within the Security Council permanent membership. Thank you.
Senegal. And I invite statements from our distinguished guests, member states, and interest groups participating in the intergovernmental negotiations. We will go in this order for now, and we start with Brazil Foreign Minister on behalf of G4.
His Excellency Dr. Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Coordinator of the African Union Committee of C10. His Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union. His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission. Ministers and heads of delegation of C10. Excellencies, I thank President Julius Maada Bio of the Republic of Sierra Leone, as well as other leaders from C10 states, for inviting the G4 to attend this meeting. It's an honor for Brazil to speak on behalf of the G4 countries. As we mark the 20th anniversary of the Eswini Consensus, alongside with the CERT Declaration, we celebrate a valuable contribution of African diplomacy to the global debate on the Security Council reform. The consensus remains the most authoritative and unified expression of Africa's legitimate demand to address historical injustice through greater representation in both categories of the United Nations Security Council membership. It calls for the correction of historical injustice that have left the continent without permanent membership in the Council. Mr. President, we are living in unprecedented times. The 80th anniversary of the United Nations is marked by relentless challenges which risk pushing the world into an unpredictable spiral. The survival of multilateralism is now at stake. It is precisely in the face of these challenges that a representative, legitimate, and effective United Nations with a fully functional and responsive Security Council is needed the most. And yet, there are some who still hesitate, falter, and lay idle instead of moving for urgent action on reform. We all know this is not an option, it's a necessity. The African Union and G4 are united in their call for urgent reform of the Security Council with the expansion of both categories of membership. The world leaders recognized at the Summit of the Future the importance of improving the representation of the underrepresented or unrepresented regions and groups, such as Africa, South Pacific, and Latin America and the Caribbean. Adequate representation of countries from these regions and groups on the Council is essential for making it more representative, more legitimate, and more effective, capable of fulfilling its role under the UN Charter. It is evident that G4 firmly supports the case of Africa. Mr. President, the G4 model proposes that the Security Council's membership increase from the current 15 to 25 or 26 by adding 6 permanent and 4 or 5 non-permanent members. Among the 6 new permanent members, 2 are proposed to be from each of African states and Asia-Pacific states, 1 from Latin America and Caribbean states, and 1 from Western European and other states. On rights and prerogatives associated with permanent membership, such as the veto, G4 takes the position that new permanent members should, in principle, bear the same responsibilities and obligations as the current ones. Mr. President, the time has come to voice the convergence which is also shared by a clear majority of member states. Let us take the 80th session of the General Assembly as a historical opportunity for change. Let us work together to translate years of discussion into concrete, result-oriented, text-based negotiations with clearly defined timelines where the interests and the needs of every region and groups can be properly assessed and debated. The African Union can count on the G4 in this regard. I thank you very much.
I thank the Brazil Foreign Minister on behalf of
Yes, so welcome back after that short break, brothers and sisters. Now let us now go to our thousand, our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. Of course, now let us move to Haiti. You know that Kenya and I think Benin, African nations, sent police and soldiers in Haiti to see if they can bring stability in our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. So let us now go to Haiti and listen what leaders have been discussing about the issue of Haiti, because Haiti is part of Africa, is a diaspora. So that is a region of the sixth region of African Union. We know that we have five in the continent, but diaspora has considered as the sixth region of African Union. So let us now dive deep into what leaders are talking about Haiti. And here is what leaders say.
Colleagues, Minister for Foreign Affairs present, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. At the onset, let me take this opportunity to welcome each one and every one of you to this high-level meeting to exchange our perspectives on the obtaining situation in the Republic of Haiti. This event comes at a time when the situation in the country demands concrete and coordinated action from all of us to ensure that peace and security is restored, to facilitate the political processes that will ultimately lead to the stabilization of Haiti. The event also comes close to the upcoming decision of the United Nations Security Council on the shape of international intervention in Haiti, and which will determine the fate of the country. I do not wish to preempt the trajectory that our interventions will take today, but I encourage all to candidly articulate our views even as we strive to stand by our brothers and sisters in Haiti. To set off, I humbly invite us to watch a video on the operations of the multinational security support in Haiti, after which we will proceed. It is
Brothers and sisters, those are Kenyan soldiers and international soldiers in Haiti. Of course, um, they tried to support Haiti. Of course, you see, it is not normal as we think, but all in all, uh, Africans and the global world, of course, we need to see how we can bring peace in Haiti, because these are our brothers and sisters. So continue to watch this video. This is just a documentary on soldiers and the police from Kenya who are in Haiti since almost 2023, I think, or if not 2024. They're in Haiti for peace mission. So let us now move on. But what other people are being, and of course, challenging this is that African soldiers are defending the interests of Western power. instead of bringing peace. And of course, this has also happened to Democratic Republic of Congo, where Africans are demanded peacekeepers to move out uh, of Congo territory because they're saying uh, these peacekeepers are taking resources from Congo instead of keeping peace. But all in all, uh, those are just views. But um, the aim here is to see if a peace can be restored in Haiti. You know, Haiti is famous for having critical minerals that is needed by these powerful nations. And that's why you see these big nations, powerful nations, they use these small countries such as Kenya and the other countries to support and to send their soldiers to protect their interests. So, but all in all, we have been promised a lot of money. Our soldiers are getting, of course, and one day I was listening to President Ruto talking about um, foreign currencies. You know, Africa will love foreign currencies, and that's why when you hear Africans being told that we have job abroad, people are started thinking about I'm going to get dollar, I'm going to get foreign currencies. But all in all, we hope peace will be restored in Haiti and other places, not only in Haiti, you know, and in Libya, and of course, in the other parts of this continent. There are some places where there's no peace. So I think if we achieve in Haiti, also we can achieve in other places. So let us continue with this documentary. Then I will continue to share what is so good in light for us.
Foreign Affairs Minister for Kenya. Now it is my honor to invite His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, to give his remarks.
Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly honored that you accepted my invitation to take part in this high-level event on MSS to the great country of Haiti. In partnership with our friends, the United States, your presence here underscores our shared commitment to support Haiti and our people in building a peaceful, secure, and politically stable future. Excellencies, the history of Haiti reflects both the heights of human courage and the depths of societal adversity. It is the story of a people who rose from the shackles of slavery to claim independence and inspire movements for freedom across the globe, especially in our own continent, in Africa. Yet, paradoxically, for decades, the promise of that triumph has been undermined by betrayal, compounded setbacks, and serious consequences of a painful legacy. For many years, the people of Haiti have repeatedly called on the international community to stand in solidarity with them and to help overcome their challenges. Too often, their appeals have been met with indifference or with support that was hesitant and inadequate. When the government and people of Kenya heeded the request by Haitian authorities, it was to join a global multinational effort, drawing on our decades of peace support operations around the world. And we have participated in 46 peace operations across the world. We stepped up and offered to lead the international effort and committed to deploy the Kenyan police officers to help tackle the runaway menace of gang violence in Port-au-Prince and its environs. We therefore welcomed and fully embraced Resolution 2699, by which the United Nations Security Council authorized the deployment of multinational security support mission to Haiti, with Kenya as the lead nation. On 25th June 2025, the first contingent of 200 police officers from Kenya arrived in Port-au-Prince for a task many thought was a mission impossible. Today, the MSS mission in Haiti has a police contingent of 989 personnel, of which 735 are from Kenya, 150 from Guatemala, 78 from El Salvador, 23 from Jamaica, 3 from the Bahamas, and 1 from Canada. Excellencies, in a few days, the UN Security Council will make a critical decision on a successor mission for the MSS. I therefore considered it prudent for us to share our experiences, successes, challenges, and lessons learned in the 15 months that we have been privileged to lead the MSS mission. Around this time last year, I visited Port-au-Prince to gain first-hand experience of the situation on the ground. I had the distinct privilege to engage with the Haitian Presidential Council representatives and partner countries, as well as the MSS personnel. From this historic visit, I became convinced, beyond any reasonable doubt, that indeed the mission in Haiti was possible and remains possible. And let me give a bit of context on this. When we first stepped in Haiti, the airport had been surrounded by gangs, and many people found it very unsafe to land in the airport. Today, the airport is operational. We have passenger, we have cargo flights landing in the airport. We have driven out the gangs from the airport, and the airport is much safer than what it was. The presidential palace was under siege. Today, the Presidential Council is a place where the management of the affairs of the people of Haiti is carried out from that premise. It is now secured by our forces. Thirdly, the police headquarters and the police training center had been overrun by gangs. Today, the police headquarters is safe. The police academy is working. In fact, they have just graduated 750 police officers from that training center, which was initially a home of gangs. The routes, as you have seen in the pictures here, to most of the townships were blocked by gangs. and they had toll stations to charge people for access. Today, those routes have been opened, and there is a continuous improvement on the security along those routes to townships. The port had been captured by gangs. As you have seen in the pictures, today the port is operational. There is cargo in and out, and we have our security personnel stationed at the port. And as you have heard, most schools were closed, and hospitals as well. Today, the story is different. Just a few weeks ago, there were graduations in many schools. There was a lot of celebration in those many schools. And the hospitals too, some of them, we've brought the hospitals back to life. I must commend the Haitian government for the cooperation they have given to the MSS, without which it would have been a lot more difficult to achieve what has been achieved. I must also single out the Haitian police leadership. They have been immensely useful, and they have worked in collaboration with MSS in the efforts that we have undertaken. I must, however, say that we have been operating at a 40% capacity. Initially, it was expected that 2,500 security personnel would be made available. Unfortunately, they were not made available. It was also expected that there would have been force multipliers, that we would have armored personnel carriers, we would have enough logistical support to be able to make this mission successful. I must commend the United States. They did make available logistics, vehicles, but unfortunately, most of the vehicles were second-hand vehicles, and therefore they broke down a lot many times. And in fact, it put our personnel in great danger when they broke down in very dangerous places. But at least they stepped up. We didn't, however, get any useful support from any other quarter. I must be as candid as I can on this matter, because I believe that the situation in Haiti can be solved. It is not mission impossible. I believe that the international community must do for the people of Haiti what is right. The people of Haiti, the women, the children who go to school there, I think deserve the support of the international community. What is going on in Haiti is unacceptable. It is indefensible. It is simply wrong. That we cannot marshal the support that is necessary for us to stabilize Haiti, to drive out the gangs. The gangs, in my very honest opinion, are cowards with very minimal intervention. They have literally gone into hiding, occasionally showing up. It's a guerrilla warfare of some sort. And therefore, I thought I would use this meeting to bring to the attention of the international community that the situation in Haiti can and must be solved. I am happy that we are now having a conversation about the successor mission to MSS, but I thought I would bring to this gathering some insights on how success would look like. Because if we don't correct the mistakes of the past, we will most unlikely succeed. If we are sending an additional security team to Haiti, the mandate must be clear. Number one, we must be very clear on the mandate of what it is supposed to achieve. Number two, we must have a predictable resource package. It cannot be what Kenya has gone through, a game of guesswork. You know, voluntary, depending on people's goodwill, depending on when they have time and when they can get some attention. It must be predictable. And that is if we are serious about solving the matter of Haiti. And I don't understand why we cannot be serious. The people of Haiti may be people of African descent, but for heaven's sake, they are members of the human race, like us. And they deserve as much, not less. And number three, it is my very considered view that we must have the necessary logistical support to be able to make that mission succeed. I will give you a case in point. You know, we wanted to set up 12 forward operating bases where territory that has been claimed or reclaimed from gangs, we would then station security people to make sure that it doesn't revert back to gangs. But that was not possible because of the logistical support architecture that did not allow mechanics to leave Port-au-Prince, that did not allow food and other logistical support to leave Port-au-Prince. I seriously think that we have an opportunity, a historic opportunity, to solve the Haiti equation. And I speak from a position of knowledge and experience, having been in the theater in Haiti for the last year and a bit, 15 months. And I thought this meeting was very necessary so that I can bring to the attention of the friends of Haiti, the people sitting around this table, and the international community, what my perspectives are about the situation in Haiti. I must use this occasion to honor the Kenyan officers, Mr. Samuel Tomoy, Benedict Kabiru, and Kennedy Nzuve, who lost their lives in the lines of duty. I'm equally proud that MSS personnel have continued to exhibit the highest standards of transparency and conduct. They have adhered to the guiding instruments, including the concept notes of operation, the status of protection agreement, and of course the UN Human Rights Due Diligence Charter and Policy. Excellencies, when we deployed our officers, we are clear in our minds that while the MSS was a critical and innovative intervention, it was not the ultimate solution. We knew that Haiti's stability could only be accomplished through a multi-pronged approach that address the root causes of the challenges. In this regard, the MSS has from the outset coordinated and closely worked with the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, the United Nations Country Team, and the Haitian government. Let me conclude my remarks by saying I'm deeply grateful for the support Haiti's political leadership, particularly the members of the Transitional Presidential Council, including all the good gentlemen there. In spite of prevailing difficulties, the government has facilitated and supported our mission, and I can state without equivocation that the achievement of the MSS are too often understated. When the first contingent arrived in Port-au-Prince, few could have imagined that a Boeing 787 would one day land at the local airport without the risk of being brought down. I want to commend all the countries and friends who have stepped up to make us achieve what we have achieved in Haiti. And I am looking forward to Kenya participating in the transition. Once we agree on the next mission, the one thing that Kenya will not do is to walk away from Haiti in haste. That we will not do. Because all said and done, we believe that they are members of humanity, and we owe them a clear transition, because whatever has been achieved, if we don't provide a proper transition, we are unlikely to lose everything that we have achieved. And therefore, the mandate of the MSS is coming up in the next 11 days, and therefore we don't have much of time. I want to persuade all members of the international community, persuade the P5 to take the matters of Haiti as seriously as it deserves, and hopefully provide a transition that is going to ensure that we don't let the people of Haiti down. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President William Ruto, for those very passionate remarks. It's now my honor to invite Honorable Christopher Landau, Deputy Secretary of State of the United States, to make his remarks.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Haiti stands at a crossroads. Port-au-Prince faces an escalating security crisis with gangs terrorizing communities, extorting families, and recruiting desperate children to commit horrors on behalf of gang leaders. I'd like to thank President Ruto of Kenya for organizing this event. Kenya has shown courageous leadership in leading the multinational security support mission, and we are deeply grateful for its commitment and the sacrifices it has made, including, as you just mentioned, Mr. President, the lives of 3 of your people. Despite the contributions of Kenya and the countries that have joined the MSS, though, the mission currently lacks the mandate and the resources necessary to address the mounting scale of the challenge. That is why the United States and Panama have worked with Haiti to introduce a UN Security Council resolution to establish a larger gang suppression force with a broader mandate and a UN support office for Haiti, which would provide the necessary operational and logistical support for the force. This effort responds to the call from our partners in Kenya, as we have just heard, and has the full endorsement of Haiti. All 32 members of the Organization of American States have likewise signed on to a joint statement calling for the urgent passage of this resolution. It's not that often you get all 32 members of an international body to agree on something. Requested by Haiti, this new force would consist of more than 5,500 personnel, more than 5 times the size of the current MSS mission, and would operate under a mandate authorized by Chapter 7 of the UN Charter. This mandate would empower the force to proactively target gangs and restore security to Haiti while ensuring it has the appropriate tools to succeed. The mission's anticipated objectives include reducing territorial control by gangs, securing critical infrastructure, and conducting anti-gang operations. Unfortunately, the adoption of this resolution is not a done deal. Despite overwhelming support of the UN Security Council, there are still those who might try to prevent its adoption or slow our response in Haiti's hour of need. The time for action is now, and the United States asks all our partners to join us in pressing for this critical resolution before the MSS mission mandate expires on October 2nd. Our proposed resolution would address Haiti's immediate security challenges, but we must also not ignore the long-term recovery of Haiti. The era of impunity is over for individuals promoting violence and undermining the country's stability and governance. The United States has already taken decisive action to support restoring democratic governance, but we are not done. We welcome others to join these efforts. Today, I am announcing that the Department of State is taking additional actions to publicly designate 2 officials for their involvement in significant corruption during their time in public office. The actions of Arnel Belizaire, a former member of the Haitian Chamber of Deputies, and Antonio Cherami, a former Haitian senator, have both had a destabilizing effect on Haiti's democratic institutions and processes. Our designation renders Belizaire, Cherami, and their immediate family members ineligible for entry into the United States. The U.S. government will remain relentless in pursuing those supporting terrorist gangs through indictments, arrests, sanctions, armed seizures, and other immigration restrictions. The United States has long been a partner and a friend to Haiti. However, we cannot continue to bear the lion's share of the financial burden in addressing the hemisphere's security threat. That is why we call on all UN member states to support the creation of a GSF and UN support office and to provide the resources required to stabilize Haiti. This is not a crisis that can be ignored or deferred. It demands urgent, coordinated, and decisive action. The people of Haiti cannot wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Secretary of State. It's now my honor to invite His Excellency Lourenço, President of the Transitional Presidential Council of the Republic of Haiti, to make his remarks.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I will deliver my remarks in French, okay? Excellence.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to begin, I would like to
thank you for convening this conference, which shows the importance that is given to the quest for concrete solutions to the crisis being experienced by Haiti. On behalf of the Presidential Council of Haiti, of the government, and the people of Haiti, I would like to express my deep gratitude to the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, as well as to his government and to the people of Kenya for having agreed to accept the leadership of the mission, the MSS mission in Haiti. It's this courageous act on the part of the African continent shows international solidarity as well as a deep commitment to human dignity. I would also like to express my deep gratitude to the United States, to President Donald Trump, as well as to his government and to the American people who continue to support the people of Haiti in this very difficult time. They remain essential partners for the success of the transition, especially the restoration of security. I'd like to express my gratitude to all of the countries who have contributed personnel to the international mission. Jamaica, Bahamas, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, as well as all of our partners who for years have accompanied Haiti along this path. I would also like to welcome a few friends around the table. The representative of Canada, from Representative Barbados, Minister Omoki, who's a great defender of Haiti, in CARICOM. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a special thought for all of the victims of gang violence, for all those lives that are broken by the humanitarian crisis that is afflicting our country. I'd like to include in this tribute our policemen, our soldiers, and Kenyan soldiers who have fallen in the line of duty. Once again, I thank you, President Ruto, for conveying the condolences of the Presidential Council of Haiti and of the government of Haiti to these heroes. Today, 12 million men, women, and children depend on the support of the international community. And we want to continue with determination throughout the session of the 80th session of the General Assembly. Haiti cannot and will not be able to face this security crisis alone, fueled by transnational criminal networks. It's urgent for the international community to stand alongside the government of Haiti to provide concrete and sustainable responses to the restoration of security. President Ruto mentioned this already, and I'd like to emphasize that. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the intensification of the operations carried out by the HNP, by the MSSM, there are still immense challenges. Despite the courage of the contingents, our capacity for action is limited. We're under-equipped, understaffed, and we have been able to secure completely all of the national territory. And gangs have taken advantage of those gaps and extended their influence. Today, we need more personnel. We need more logistical means, the appropriate equipment, adequate financing, as well as operational support to break the power of these criminal groups. Ladies and gentlemen, the government has significantly increased resources allocated to the national security, stepped up recruitment for the HNP and for the FADH, and we've also bought more equipment and material. The priority is to allow every citizen to be able to move freely throughout the national territory. We have to retake control of the administrative centers and ensure the release of strategic roads between the north and the south. At the same time, the election machine must continue to function. We have mobilized more than 70% of the personnel, electoral personnel, and we have provided $5 million on the part of the Haitian state. The political will is there. However, the security situation, as we see it today, remains the main obstacle to finalizing our objective, ensuring a peaceful transition to power through elections and fully reestablish Republican order. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, today, on behalf of the Haitian people, I'd like to make a solemn appeal. Let us remain united to restore security to Haiti and to complete this transition, which must be the last one. We welcome the efforts of people and the transformation of the MSSM. We also support the initiatives to establish a GSF. This force should not only be robust, but must have the necessary logistical and material means. And we would like to include the participation of Kenya, which would allow that training would be provided, and we should continue to benefit from the lessons learned. President Ruto has said this, and I'm honored to be able to count on Kenya to be able to continue this mission. Without appropriate resources, no peacekeeping mission or no mission to restore peace can be carried out. We must learn from the experiences of the MSS, and we must take into account these lessons to reorient the transition of the GSF and to ensure a adequate response to the situation. With the approach of this new mission, we have to set up the GSF. Otherwise, the security situation will be worsened. I call upon the solidarity of the entire international community, and in particular, the commitment of the members of the Security Council, given the urgency of the Haitian cause. The voices of 12 million men and women and children who are calling for peace and stability. If we don't respond to this appeal, we will be not complying with the commitments of the United Nations and at the basis of the multilateral system. We'd be turning our back on a country which, though wounded by an unprecedented human tragedy, continues to fight with dignity and asks to be accompanied in their quest for security and stability. Today, there's no longer a time for promises, for pleas, for endless negotiations. It's time for action, urgent action, decisive and collective action. I'd like to conclude by reaffirming the determination of the Haitian government to work hand in hand in a coordinated fashion in cooperation with their international partners for the success of this initiative aimed at restoring security. This combat has to be carried out together because not only does the future of Haiti depend on this, but also the future of regional peace and security. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, we have just about 12 minutes left. And I've received some requests, so some quick interventions. We have the Prime Minister of Barbados, we have China, Spain, the United Kingdom, the Dominican Republic, and Turkey. So I would request that if you can make your intervention very crisp and precise, it would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The absolute need for the support for the people of Haiti, but also to remember that this is really only part one of a mission. And to the extent that all of us, small and large states, can play a role, I think we should. But we do need some more clarity. And we need more clarity on what the mission is going to be like and what the numbers are going to be like. And if that can be provided at the soonest opportunity, then I think that all of us should be mobilizing, not just those of us in this room, but beyond. Jamaica is chair of CARICOM now and will continue, I believe, the excellent work of ensuring that the work that we put in earlier this year. Chris, we worked closely with you at the beginning of the year, and President Ruto and Monica. We continue to be a bridge working with Laurent and all of the Haitian members to ensure that this bridge is there. The dislocation of people in Haiti is even more horrific than we realize. And the vulnerability of women and girls is acute. As President Ruto said, this is a matter of our humanity. And it is true that there are conflicts in other parts of the world, but we, I believe, are facing a level of Haiti fatigue that we have to break. And I hope that this meeting this morning will go a long way towards breaking that. But I do urge all members, and Chris in particular, OAS, we need more information for CARICOM, for other countries, if we are going to carry the ball that we need to carry at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you. Did China had got the name? Yeah, thank you.
Me first highly commend Kenya's significant efforts in leading the MSS mission to help improve the security situation in Haiti. We know Kenya has made huge sacrifice. We highly appreciate your commitment and contributions. We note with regret, however, that due to unfulfilled funding commitments, the mission has long been short of funding, staff, and equipment, and has been unable to achieve complete deployment and full function as expected. The mandate of MSS mission is due to expire next month. We support the mission in continuing playing its significant role and stand ready to engage with all parties to explore all possible and also feasible way forward. All this should be based on full consultation, thorough deliberation, and comprehensive assessments, while drawing on past lessons, including the lessons learned by MSS operations. And we also would like to emphasize that addressing the multidimensional crisis in Haiti requires a comprehensive approach. And what's fundamental here is that Haiti itself must show its ownership and assume primary responsibility by taking concrete actions. China remains committed to working constructively with all parties, including Kenya, the United States, in helping Haiti to emerge out of this crisis as an early date. Thank you, Chair.
According to my list, I can see Takir. Yes, I have a list. Make sure I can see you there. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I would also like to thank the Kenyan and the U.S. governments for organizing this very timely and important meeting. Because indeed, after 2 years after the establishment of the MSS, this is indeed a good time to reflect on where we are and what more can and we should do. And in this regard, despite some notable successes of the MSS mission, as we heard today, the situation is still fragile, with continued gang violence causing huge economic and human losses. So we need to do something different and more effectively. There's no doubt that. And in this regard, we highly appreciate Kenya's guidance to us on the basis of their valuable experience as the lead nation of the MSS. We are truly grateful for their leadership in that difficult task, and also the candid and the honest observations as they shared us today on what needs to be done. And on that basis, we fully support the transition of the MSS mission into a new gang suppression force, but also the establishment of the UN Support Office in Haiti to tackle some of the logistical challenges faced by the MSS within the last 2 years. We truly hope that this new mission will build on the gains made by the MSS and finally restore security in Haiti. But let us be honest. I mean, this new approach, of course, the success of this new approach depends on two things. First of all, our continued and consistent commitment and support to this new mission. Otherwise, of course, all the lessons learned and all the adjustments we can make will remain on paper. And of course, on this point, we as Turkey, just like we supported MSS and MINUSTAH, MINJUST in the past, will continue to support all efforts to improve the security situation in Haiti. Secondly, we should also keep in mind that, of course, our efforts alone cannot provide lasting security to Haiti, and that remains in the hands of the Haitians themselves. In other words, our efforts as international community can only allow space for the restoration of democratic institutions, which would be the ultimate guarantor of security in Haiti, and that can only be achieved through credible, participatory, and inclusive elections. This is why we also fully support the efforts of the Transitional Presidential Council in that direction. So to conclude with, we also believe that, Haitians deserve much better where they are now. We believe in their resilience and potential, and we're committed to support them in their journey towards prosperity, security, and stability. Thank you.
Thank you. On my order, can we have Guatemala, El Salvador, and United Kingdom in that order from my screen? If you can quickly make your intervention.
Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Guatemala would like to express its most sincere thanks to the government of Kenya for its leadership and commitment at the helm of the MSSM mission in Haiti. My country is deeply worried by the security, political, and humanitarian situation that the sisterly Republic of Haiti is facing. We firmly believe that the international community has a shared responsibility to support the efforts of the Haitian people to recover their stability, strengthen their democratic institutions, and move towards sustainable development. In this framework, Guatemala is committed, and in January of this year, we deployed 150 officials, including 16 women. We recognize the challenges of the MSSM, especially the urgent need to receive adequate funding and materials in order to make it fully operational. Therefore, we would like to respectfully appeal to the international community to commit to this and, if possible, to increase financial contributions in order to guarantee the success of our mission. Guatemala supports initiatives to strengthen international coordination and explore mechanisms that allow for the current mission to evolve toward a structure that is more sustainable and provides logistical support in keeping with the recommendations of the United Nations Secretary General. My country supports other initiatives such as the roadmap for Haiti presented by the OAS Secretary General. We believe that security is indispensable to move forward in areas such as electoral politics, security, political consensus, and humanitarian relief, as well as sustainable development. Guatemala will continue to work hand in glove with Haiti, Kenya, and all regional and international partners in order to provide a coherent and coordinated response that is led by the Haitian people. Our commitment is firm and is based on the principles of solidarity, cooperation, and respect for the rule of law and democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I would like to request that rather than reading a statement, please just make your intervention. It will save us quite a bit of time. I have the Spain, United Kingdom. Spain.
Muchas gracias, España.
Thank you very much. Spain would like to reaffirm its firm commitment to Haiti, and our embassy in Port-au-Prince has remained open even during the most critical moments, because we believe that the constant presence is another sign of solidarity. We also recognize, and we'd like to say it here, we recognize the leadership shown by Kenya at the helm of the mission, and we agree on the need to strengthen it, giving it more autonomy and greater logistical support. We also value the efforts that the Security Council has made in order to step up the fight against the criminal gangs and arms trafficking. The Haitian people, as you have said, deserve international support. Spain has contributed with more than 13 million euros to the multinational mission, as well as operational personnel. We've tripled our humanitarian assistance since 2022, reaching 12 million euros since 2022. You can continue to count on Spain to coordinate efforts and to accompany the Haitian people on the path towards stability, development, and progress. Thank you very much.
United Kingdom.
Thank you, Excellencies. The United Kingdom thanks Kenya for its strong support and leadership in multinational security support mission in Haiti. We're especially grateful to Kenyan security forces for their professionalism and dedication. We welcome President Ruto's list of achievements, and we do find them to be impressive. We'd like to place on record how deeply sorry we are for the lives lost and those injured in service in Haiti. The UK remains firmly committed to supporting efforts to bring peace and security to the Haitian people, and we're proud to have helped set up the MSS mission's human rights compliance framework, and will continue to back international efforts that are coordinated, inclusive and long-term. As the multinational support mission looks to transition into the gang suppression force, we're keen to learn from Kenya's experience. We welcome the United States and Panama's efforts to step up security support in Haiti and the important negotiations taking place in the Security Council. As ever, the UK remains ready to continue to support efforts that promote stability, accountability and long-term peace in Haiti.
Thank you. El Salvador, and then we come to the Dominican Republic.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much. I would like to begin my intervention saying that I observe all protocol, but I would like to be very emphatic on something. El Salvador is not indifferent to the reality that Haiti is currently experiencing, which is absolutely devastating. We have expressed our solidarity not just through words, but also through deeds. We've deployed a contingent of 78 officials in the mission, and we will continue supporting Haiti. That is why we have decided to join the standing group of partners, and our experience has shown us that even in the most difficult of contexts, when there is leadership, when there is collective commitment and determination, change is in fact possible. And that is why in this meeting we have to move forward. We have to go beyond this. It is imperative to establish soon a United Nations support office in Haiti and move forward with the transition towards the gang suppression force that has first a clear mandate and also the necessary resources. I'm referring to financial means, but also logistic and operational means for this mission to respond with the urgency that the context demands. Thank you very much, and you can always count on the support and commitment of El Salvador.
Thank you. Dominican Republic.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, President Ruto. Minister, through you, we'd like to thank all of the Bureau. Colleagues, the value of multilateralism is today under the gun, and its survival is being questioned. It's in this context that the government of the Dominican Republic would like to express its deep commitment and gratitude to the people and government of Kenya. When the Security Council authorized the establishment of the MSS in October 2023, Kenya did not hesitate to respond, despite the distance, to respond to the appeal, the call of history with exemplary bravery. Its leadership, President Ruto, and the example shown by his country has shown that multilateralism and solidarity live on, and this has inspired confidence in the international community and has lit the flame of hope for the Haitian people. And it's in this decisive moment when the Security Council is deliberating on the adequate mechanism to strengthen international support for Haiti. This is when the Dominican Republic reaffirms categorically its unwavering support to all of the efforts directed to restoring peace and security in the neighboring country of Haiti. And along those lines, we like to make an energetic appeal to the Security Council, and in particular to the P5, to urgently approve the resolution proposed by the United States and Panama, which aims to transform the MSS in a hybrid force which would transfer logistical support and provide a stronger mandate to achieve the objective to restore security required. And hopefully this would lead to the celebration of elections and the selection of a leadership with wider national support in Haiti. The invaluable experience that's been accumulated and the moral authority that Kenya has built will be fundamental pillars in order to guarantee the continuity, legitimacy, and effectiveness of this noble mission. We'd like to pay tribute to the extraordinary sacrifices made by Kenya and all of the nations that have contributed to the MSS. We think it's fair to recognize this morning the Kenyan police that President Ruto has mentioned, who sacrificed their lives in carrying out this noble mission. And for this reason, we would also like to mention their names in order to show that their example was not in vain. We recognize Samuel Kenyan, Kennedy Nzube, and also we recognize Benedict Kabiro, who disappeared in combat since the 26th of March this year. And we pray for his safe return. And this is we'd like to show that our government will continue to provide specialized medical assistance to the members of the MSS who may require it. Thus far, we've carried out 42 medevac flights and provided medical assistance in Dominican hospitals where they have been treated with the same care as if they were Dominican citizens. 38 Kenyan police and 12 personnel from El Salvador seriously wounded. Thus far, the Dominican government has spent more than $1 million of the $10 million committed to the MSS. The situation in Haiti is a proof of our collective will and our capacity as an international community to accompany our brotherly people in their quest. We appeal to the international solidarity and fraternity, and we will remain alongside Haiti and Kenya and all of the countries that share our faith in peace, human dignity, and the promising future of the Haitian people. Thank you.
We have just been allowed just a few more minutes of extension, please. We have Mexico, France. If you can take a minute, we just have a minute each, please. Mexico, France.
Microphone for Mexico, please.
Presidente Ruto.
I would like to thank President Ruto for having convened this meeting, and I would like to recognize Kenya's leadership in the mission. We agree, as has already been mentioned, with the need to have a mission that is much stronger and that has the necessary financial resources and the necessary equipment in order to face the terrible situation that Haiti is currently experiencing. And I would just like to share that given Mexico's commitment, we have decided to contribute to the UN Trust Fund for Haiti. Thank you.
France.
Monsieur le Président Ruto, Monsieur le
President Ruto, Deputy Secretary of State, Mr. Lando, President of the Transitional Council, I'd like to thank Kenya and the United States for organizing this very important meeting on prospects for UN commitment in Haiti. The situation in Haiti remains extremely disturbing, and we condemn firmly all of the destabilizing actions carried out by gangs who are trying to thwart the return of constitutional order and state authority. I would also like to welcome the deployment of the MSSM since 2023 alongside the Haitian National Police, which has been fighting courageously against the gangs. The role played by the troop contributing countries and President, your country is in the front line, as well as the financing from the United States. These are essential in order to support the Haitian National Police, in order to prevent a collapse of security institutions. France was the first country to contribute to the trust fund, and we continue to provide all of our support to it. But if this security support is important, but the efforts of the international community should be stepped up in order to end the cycle of violence, to guarantee security conditions, which would make it possible to organize elections as soon as possible. And France, therefore, argues in favor of a greater commitment on the part of the United Nations to provide their strategic, operational expertise as well as logistical support, as recommended by the Secretary General in his report from February 2025. And along those lines, the draft presented by the Security Council, by the United States and Panama, to replace the MSSM by a GSF under Chapter 7 with a robust year-long mandate to carry out operations against the gang. This is a very good basis for action, and it's important that quick commitment of the United Nations on the ground would be able to stem the worsening of the security situation. France calls upon the unity and the commitment of the international community so that Haiti will be able to rise up, and rest assured that France is fully mobilized for Haiti and will play its role. Thank you.
Japan, please.
We express our gratitude to the leadership of both Kenyan and the United States government to host this event. We also commend the efforts of the MSS mission and the Haitian National Police in working towards the stabilization of Haiti. We recognize that Haiti's stability is inextricably linked to the peace, security, and prosperity of the entire Western Hemisphere. The role of the MSS mission is indispensable to stabilizing Haiti. In this context, we welcome and support the efforts made by the United States and Panama aimed at stabilizing Haiti in the Security Council. Japan has provided over $12 million to ensure the smooth deployment of the MSS mission and the Haitian National Police, including funding for the construction of forward operating base. And we will soon start cooperation with UNODC to strengthen international border control and prevent Haiti from becoming a hub of international crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Italy.
Thank you. Italy is very worrisome for the security scenario in Haiti, and that's why we welcome the U.S.-Panama UN Security Council draft resolution on the transition from a multinational security support mission to a gang suppression force. As always, outreach is very important, and we'll do our best to encourage the approval of the resolution of the UN Security Council. It is now important the United Nations, the Organization of American States, and CARICOM coordinated their initiatives in order to make their efforts more effective and reach long-lasting results. Italy supports any initiative aimed at establishing acceptable security conditions in Haiti, including a possible strategy for the improvement of maritime security in Haiti. Thank you.
Thank you. Jamaica.
Thank you, Excellencies. We start by commending President Ruto and the government and people of Kenya for their leadership and solidarity on this issue. We commend and thank both yourself, Excellency, and the Deputy Secretary of State and the U.S. government for all the leadership and resources that have been provided over this period of time. We thank and commend President Saint-Cyr, who even before becoming president and indeed before the establishment of the TPC has been a voice of moderation and cohesion, which has helped, of course, to provide a stable foundation for the work that we contemplate today. Jamaica has always believed that the restoration of security is fundamental to the restoration of democracy and peace and accordingly prosperity in Haiti. We had our disruptions with our own surge in gang violence and elections over the last year, which now having been concluded successfully, allow us to reaffirm our commitment to not only the MSS, but to participating at full force in the succeeding GSF, should it be approved by the UN Security Council. In that context, Jamaica supports the call for this succeeding and more clearly mandated gang suppression force, and therefore calls on all members of the P5 to support this resolution at the close of the mandate of the MSS. We thank the government of China for their constructive approach to the passage of the MSS, which we know had been challenging because they did have concerns. We thank them for their comments, which were again constructive this morning, and hope that this is also indicative of likely constructive approaches at the time of consideration of the resolution. We thank all members indeed and call on those who may not even have the opportunity to speak today, but who have continued to participate in different ways. It is critical that security be returned. We have learned from the passage of the last year. The mandate, even as we require further information, will allow for additional equipment, additional financial resources, additional personnel, and additional operational support critical to the success of the MSS and its transition to a GSF. I thank you, Excellencies, for the time to speak.
Thank you. Canada.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur.
Thank you very much, President.
To take the floor very quickly to command the leadership of Kenya. We know you made the ultimate sacrifice. You were provided with a very difficult mission, but you managed to thrive. So congratulations, and we're very, very grateful for your continued support. And same thing for the leadership of the U.S. We have a real opportunity to learn from the mistakes and make sure that the succeeding mission will have the resources and the equipment and the support to be successful. But there would be no point in doing all of this if there wasn't a recognition from the Asian authorities that they do have a part to play in addressing the root causes of insecurity. They have to invest in their own security, and they also have to start addressing impunity, which is fundamentally the root causes of this. But we have great hope that this will happen, and of course Canada is 100% behind in all of these efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have to come to the end. I'll request His Excellency President Ruto to make the closing remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me commend all the speakers this morning for their useful contribution. I am sure it will go a long way in informing the debate at the next level. Let me single out the United States of America for the support they have lent Kenya and the MSS for us to get to where we have reached, and all the other partners, including Canada and friends who have come through for the MSS. Let me commend the Dominican Republic for their support in making sure that they provided support for hospitalization and treatment of MSS personnel and those involved. Let me commend also the Secretary General of the UN for the interventions that they've had to make. And let me make this final appeal. As we consider the transition to a new mission, Kenya believes that it is the right thing to do for three reasons. Number one, we need a better mandate, a much more robust mandate, to be able to deal with the gangs and the situation on the ground, and therefore the transition to Chapter 7 is absolutely necessary. Number two, we need more numbers. We have been operating with minimal numbers, 700, 800, and even that 800 was not operating at maximum because of logistical challenges and transport and many other aspects. And therefore, the additional numbers are a very welcome development. And number three, I really want the Security Council to exercise its mind on the support that is going to be made to the successor mission. The biggest challenge and impediment to MSS was logistics, transport, support. If that remains unpredictable, I'm afraid the next mission may suffer the same as MSS. And therefore, it is very important that as we create that transition, we make sure that resourcing the new mission becomes at the heart of the transition. And finally, that Kenya is going to be available to support the mission in the transition process to make sure that the people in Haiti are looked after. And Kenya has set up a consulate in Haiti to continue to be in solidarity with the people of Haiti, and to thank you, Mr. President of the TPC, for your support and your leadership. And thank you, everybody, for coming for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Made by the President of Kenya, President William Ruto. Of course, we started with Africa demanding permanent seats in the UN Security Council. Then we came to the lasting matter of Haiti. But in all, brothers and sisters, all is about sharing good news and information that is touching our motherland here in the continent and to our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora. So it's my hope that you heard a lot. And if you have something to share with us, please share your thought ideas through the comment section. So let me say, brothers and sisters, thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us. We have been here for almost 3 hours. And now we are going to close a little bit for preparing the next session of the UN General Assembly debate. So, brothers and sisters, if you're new in this platform, make sure that you subscribe to join this big family of Make Africa Great. And if you've already subscribed, please share this video and share also this message. We have a lot of videos in this platform where we share ideas, breaking news sometimes, and bringing solutions on our challenges. So, up that, brothers and sisters, let me say, have a nice time. See you next.